better on me, better on myself. Feel good waking up whenever I want to. Feel good not sleeping in 'cause shit to do. Feel good doing what I want when I want to. Better on me, better on myself. I'm K.O.J.I. This is Think Peace, brought to you by New Wave TV, WaveRunners. Let's get into it.
Right citizenship. Let me explain to y'all how this is supposed to work, since all these demons coming online. Gaslighting people that's trying to do the right thing. Meaning, they feel as though they're traitors. Because they don't want to be evil anymore. And that's why they out here self-destructing and trying to take everybody down with them. So check it.
Alright, so right off the bat, he said there's some that feel like others are traitors because they don't want to be evil anymore. Word to the wise. I just can't trust it either way. I know there may be some people who mean well and all of that, but we understand that these certain people aren't dumb. It's the cleaving effect. You know, it's the why now effect. Y'all could figure out everything else in the world, but you couldn't figure out that the treatment of certain peoples was wrong. So, like, why now? Don't let them pull on your heartstrings. Oh, you know, it's a good one. Man. It's too late in the game for that.
Check it. The indigenous people of America is not citizens, and it's supposed to be completely free of work and taxes. But we do have a straw man, which is supposed to act as the citizen for us. We control everything as the beneficiary.
That's a good point. These terms, and that's why I said you gotta kind of be aware of the sign of the times, but decode the words and terminologies they use. We're more than citizens. You know, this was our land. There's treaties and things that were signed to give this corporation like a lease to operate. I'm gonna look it up, but I think in 2022 is when the last of the treaties was supposed to be over. So to his point, we're beyond titles, you know?
The straw man itself is the trustee that's linked to your social security number. When you're indigenous to this land, your social security number is linked to your social security trust, and it marks your citizenship. And obviously, birthright citizenship is the highest of all citizenships.
And real quick, a lot of this stuff is, you know, I came across it getting into brothers like Taj Tariq Bey and your Asir the Duke of Tears and the whole secure party creditor movement and everything like that, understanding that your birth certificate that's signed away at birth unknowingly, basically you're signing off your inheritance and they're using that inheritance to keep this corporation going. So that may be what he's alluding to, but I know a lot of this is along the secure party creditor lines if you want to get into that.
To keep it simple, it gives us extra benefits, such as not paying taxes. As we see today, the rich don't pay taxes, kickbacks from the state and government, but as we see, everyone else is getting those benefits through DEI. Also, the automatic ownership of land and property. But also, as we see today, they're stealing everything we have and put into their trust. Now, the lower forms of citizenship basically allows other people from other nations to come to a different nation and live there, to work, and pay taxes to support the country and the indigenous people that live on the land. Essentially,
so again, this going back to the previous video, one of the scriptures I shared was basically saying, I know your tribulations, for you are rich, and I know those who are false claiming an identity that doesn't belong to them. This just sounds about right. If you just think about it, forget scripture, forget anything. How is it that even off of the mistellings of his story, these people allegedly built the nation? How is it that other people can move here and just get it, you know? And they try to run with the whole narrative that we're just not competent or there's something that we're doing, but that's just not true. This just makes sense. Your birth certificate may be the thing that actually is the link to your inheritance, you know? But we sign it away. Yeah, let's keep going.
Like when you come to America to live a better and safer life, it's a privilege, and that's the only benefit you're supposed to get. So to sum up everything I just said, the indigenous people of America is supposed to be the ones living the American dream, stress-free, not working, while all the foreigners that move to America is supposed to be serving us, as in running all the businesses and public services, and that includes the military.
So when the scripture says those that lead into captivity shall go into captivity, no matter how deep you are into it, it says what it says. That sounds like a merging of prophecy with a real time playing out. I can see that. The same way that certain individuals live where they don't work. You be out any time of the day and it's traffic. They don't work. That's supposed to be the people who are stereotyped the most. I guess I can say that. That just makes sense. So when they say that the Gentiles or the other nations of people shall go into 1,000 years of slavery, I think it was 1,000, but it says they should go into slavery. That's That's what this is headed for. It ain't gonna be slavery, most likely, how they tried to play it out, the brutal ways. It's just that know your position, you work to keep this going, you're lucky to be here. Because everybody that wears the face of the American dream aren't originally from here. This is common sense.
We're supposed to be treated like royalty. Everyone else is supposed to be working for us, the real Americans. Obviously, we don't see the system working this way, and it was clearly reversed. And how they did this was becoming the trustee. On the paperwork, they coerced and deceived us to sign. This allows them to sign for us, messing up all our contracts, essentially creating fraud to steal the benefits from the real Americans. So every time we use our social security number, right, it takes our credit out of our trust. Then the security transfer agents, who we think are banks, holds our credit and give us the debt that the Federal Reserve owns.
I don't know if this relates to this, but when I was again on that wave, the whole accepted for value, and the thought process was like, say you're going to get a car or something. When you sign the paperwork that they give you, a certain paperwork, your signature actually pays for the car. So the car is already paid for, and then they're making you pay in death notes that were introduced by the House Joint Resolution in 1833 that confiscated all of the gold and silver and things that actually meant money back then and gave us paper notes. You're actually paying double for your car note or your whatever you're leasing or whatever you're paying on. It's already paid for by your signature. So if you were savvy enough and you knew what to stand on and what to say, you could go in there and stop the process at the signature and challenge them. It's just people out there to do it.
Which is the debt notes that says for public and private. This is how they're stealing our money through the public and putting it back in their private trust. So their debt notes is of negative value, meaning we can't ever pay anything off. We are literally paying back the debt that they owe us by using their debt notes. We're using their debt and paying ourselves back. So what the security transfer agents, who we think are banks, are really doing, the credit that they are holding, they give to businesses through loans. And we all know there's actually just people that hides behind these LLCs and corporations. So I want y'all to look around and see who owns all these businesses. Mainly people from other nations.
Again, that goes back to Psalms 83, the crafty counsel. All of these other nations are in cahoots with this grand scheme. The whole system, the capitalism, the American way, everything is literally rigged to take advantage of our accounts. Everything is. And it all runs off of our ignorance and our not knowing what's actually going on. Yeah, let's continue.
This is why it's much easier for them to access our credit. They know through the businesses they can make the profit, which is our stolen credit. Then, like I say, place it into their private trust or send it back to their home countries, draining America, when in all reality the system is supposed to keep the wealth in America. This is how they created oppression, which leads to crime and mental illness. Then the legal system takes full advantage of that, which messes.
So it gives a whole new meaning to make America great again. Tell you that boy Gemini now, you might gotta watch out for him. He said something so general, and the idiots who actually think they are Americans, you know, they kind of found out the hard way. Because make America great again could literally mean empowering the true American. And there's a video with Donald Trump. I may do a reaction to it, but it's not really that long. But it's like from the 80s, and he was in some courthouse, and he basically made the statement that the people on the reservations that are posing as Native Americans and what y'all call Native Americans, he said they don't look like Native Americans to me. So it seems like he's always been on this trail or destined to bring these truths to light. I don't think it's a man in his greatness is doing it. I think it's just the curses are over. Kingdom shall come. He just happens to be the person chosen to be the mouthpiece or move these things for us to reclaim our stolen legacy.
What our freedom and our wealth even more. Because they are using the same process. Every time you hear them call out a charge, it means they are charging your sister QV Trust, creating bonds, stealing our credit. This is the exact reason why we're harassed by the police way more than everyone else. Because we own all the credit, and it has to be recycled and passed through them in their minds to stay alive. That's why most of the population in prison and jail look just like me.
So this thing runs deep. Again, English is so layered, it's full of spells and cursives. Like, I'm pretty sure we've all come across this, but in a cell, in the jail, you're charged. Again, being the heart and soul of everything, we have the currency, we have the current, we have the soul, we have the energy. They need to harness, manipulate it any way they can. That's why I said the relationship between so-called white and black and everything else in between is kind of like the greatest narcissistic relationship ever. You have one side who's done everything known to man to another side, and this side just continues to try to be all they can be in the eyes of these people. You know, it's mind-boggling when you think about it. But let me stop interrupting them so much, because I'd be forgetting what I'm saying.
They're using our resources to support everyone else besides us. I said all that to say this. They use birthright citizenship to complete a destiny swap of a whole race of people.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Destiny swap, they use birthright citizenship to swap, and that's exactly what happens. Again, going to the scripture, I know those that say they are Jews, and you don't even have to specifically say I'm a Jew or this. It's just what's being said is somebody's identity has been robbed, and this identity means a lot, you know?
With our consent unknowingly, by signing these contracts or electing corrupt officials. As I said earlier, we're supposed to be treated like royalty, while everyone else is supposed to be treated like the quote-unquote black Americans. The days of us suffering for everyone else's benefit is over. And by the way, birthright citizenship has to be removed in order for everyone to be registered to their original countries. Y'all may not know it, but there's a type of citizenship called jus sanguinis, meaning right of blood. This allows a person to be a citizen by blood of the parents or grandparents who is already registered as a citizen in a different country than where the child is born in. As it
See, and that's the thing, what he mentioned about that other, I don't remember what he said, the other form of citizenship by the blood. He mentioned that there has to be a removal and everybody will eventually have to go back to their native homeland. But then on a deeper thought, when we actually do deep diving into the history of the world, this crime and atrocity that has been committed in America, the identity theft, it's happened on every landmass. You can trace every landmass and find original melanated beings there, which leads me to believe that at one point in time, this whole planet was melanated. There's evidence to support that. So if that's the case and they're really thorough about it, they really can't go back to Germany and say they're Germans because they invaded over there too and whitewashed everything over there too. We have to ask the tough questions. Where do y'all really come from? We understand that winter is engineered. We understand that just by nature, you go against it. And this is not hate, it's just true. Nature wouldn't create something to go against it, in my opinion. Yeah, so how deep is this gonna go? Do we have to acknowledge the fact that there may have been some laboratory, some grown, some cloning, and that's the origins of Yakub, the big head scientist?
And if your grandparents was born in Germany and is a citizen of Germany because of the blood, and you're born in America, you will still be a German citizen because it's in your blood. And that's how it's only supposed to work. Everything else is just quote unquote legal, but it's not lawful. So the whole citizenship was designed to keep track of people and their assets. Now when everyone is registered back to their home countries, this is when those dole checks gonna be sent out. Because as I stated earlier, they've been stealing all of our credit and sending out to the world disguised as DEI, USAID, etc. Y'all seen the trillions that Doge uncovered. So all Trump is doing is reversing the coercion of oppression.
Yeah, so pairing that with the fact that we surfed the wave that we were over here, another thing we got to realize that it wasn't just like TPs and all that. There are certain thought processes that suggest that the technology that we have is kind of primitive compared to the things that we used to have. When you surf the waves of mountains actually being trees, you could understand that this thing was a network all before the invasion. What they really want to do is terraform everything. They want to terraform everything and actually go against the natural current. This was the land of milk and honey, America. Now, you have to be willing to challenge every single thing that's norm to you. Africa is the motherland, the cradle of civilization. Not necessarily. You have to understand that you have been indoctrinated. We all say it, but we don't actually challenge the indoctrination. So you have to have the mind of a child, reset, and just ask the spirit and wisdom to guide you towards the truth. This was the land of milk and honey. So before we allegedly broke our covenant and the Most High allowed for other nations to come in, we had it all. We had it all. You know, we were straight, you know? So they have devised a plan out of jealousy or whatever, or biological warfare, actually being created by faces that probably look like ours to carry out these plans to get us off of the homeland or the motherland or the land that we belong to. And they've used this system to extract all of our wealth that we had and build up their country while posing as us.
Trying to use a system how it's designed to be used in the first place by balancing the books, because obviously it disrupted the energy on the planet. So if everyone is properly registered to their countries, then all the stolen wealth can be returned to all the countries that has been deceived and defrauded as well. So here in America, how would it be fair that these quote-unquote citizens can receive the wealth that was stolen from America when they was the ones that helped do it knowingly or unknowingly? This is why the immigration
Italians, Spaniards, British, so-called Russians, all these all of them were in on this grand scheme. I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, there's a saying by Hitler where he was like, if the world only knew who America was enslaving, like I'll put it up there. But yeah, you know, and he mentioned something that I didn't think about. That's why I say you can't really trust them all the way, because this might be just like a cover your thing. Like they know they had a time frame to do certain things, so now it's like, let us hurry up and try to make this thing right. It's almost like if you done tore up the house all day and your parents coming home in 15 minutes and you want to try to clean up right quick.
Situation is so serious. A lot of these people do not realize the damage they are causing to America, and they really think they're gonna get benefits from doing it, even though they have this whole time. But also it's being reversed back to how it should have been the whole time, all in order to balance the energy so we can ascend, while all the low vibrating entities and the sleeping people descend. As we all can see, they are failing to recognize evil. Therefore, that means they are evil because they don't know.
And that's what I say, like, this is the greatest narcissistic relationship ever. It's the most abusive thing ever. And another thing, you know, he said that they're failing to recognize their evils. I mean, honestly, you make it easy. It's not about just, oh, you're pale, even though I do believe that that's like that for a reason. Again, everything they taught us, we should try to balance it out with the reverse. If they taught us that race don't matter and everybody's equal, remember now, all of these thought processes fit this agenda. We need to say, no, we're not all the same. And that's cool, because if we're all the same, you discredit each person's individual journeys and abilities. That's the point of if it was supposed to be like that, a human family. What if the foot is trying to be the head because we're all the same? We're body parts. It don't make sense. And so he said the energy on the planet is disrupted, and that's true. Another scripture says, when the wicked are in rulership, the whole world will mourn. And when the righteous are, you know, everything will be joyous and all that. Well, I mean, look at it. They're manipulating the weather. They've drilled holes in the oceans. There are no female trees. They're cutting down forests, rainforests, burning them down. There's wildfire. There's no rest on the planet. And it's all because of them essentially trying to terraform nature, keeping the people who would defend it asleep and disempowered. It could be just like a cover your ass type of thing. That's why I say let them do what they got to do, and we'll decide the rest when the smoke clears.
Right from wrong, which is a lot of citizens that skipped the immigration process and they became radicalized by working for a systematically oppressive system, coercion, fraud, unfair treatment, and the G side of all the indigenous people of America. This is why Trump always mentioned everything has to be merit-based now, as in on your real skills, because everything was DEI. It was designed to not let us in and to keep us down, and so they could gaslight us on everything that's being done. Like, for instance, saving money, generational wealth, so on and so forth. But if we're all not collectively not making an amount of money till we can save money, how can you make more money when you can't?
And that's one thing I really don't understand, the DEI thing, but y'all help me out with that. But it sounds like to me that they're just opening it up more for other people who really wouldn't get the job based on whatever reason, the opportunity to do it. And this is what I thought. If we've been held back out of positions, a certain group of people, getting the position, you might have some bumps and bruises in the beginning. They don't tell you about all the things they had to go through to get to where they are. There was a debriefing the other day where the CIA or FBI released some documents that said, like, in the 60s, they accidentally dropped the nuclear bomb on North Carolina, and it just so happened that two of the flippers didn't activate. So, you know, they didn't let everybody know that. When the Wright brothers made aviation and all of that, how many planes fell out the sky? They're not going to tell you about all of that. If you've held back and now you let them experience what it is to run the race, it's going to take time. But I know people, when they get exposure, one mistake is going to be teaching lessons, and we catch on quick. So we'll be all right if that's how this whole thing is working. But again, it's another move to give it back to the original people.
Save money, because now it becomes more expensive because bills got overdraft fees, they got late fees. You got to buy the minimum amount of things instead of buying everything in bulk, which saves you money. And the same, like if you think about the stock market, you can't make much money if you don't have much money to put it in, because everything's interest based. So if you got $100,000 to play with, you can make mad money and have an infinite money glitch versus somebody.
And it's funny too, this whole system is designed to go against our original nature. I think that's known, and I think it's what causes us to choose different paths that kind of give us some form of dignity. Just me personally speaking, it may sound crazy to y'all, but I didn't really want to use my psychology degree, because it's like, I remember going to school and I would have original thoughts that kind of formed off of hearing these different philosophers and psychologists say things, and I would have good points. And my teacher, when I asked him certain things after class, it's just like he just glitched out, and the only thing he would say, well, that's not according to academia. And I just kind of felt right then and there, if I have to take my natural ability to counsel and fit it through a box that somehow, some way, only pale people seem to be the only one that has psychology, I gotta put I couldn't do it. This whole maze, even down to how much they price things in the store, how much they're giving people an hour, even the construct of time, 24 hours, that's all, they got it all mapped out. Like, there's no way you can get out of it unless you stop playing. Man, I've been talking a lot. Let's let them go.
They only got $200-300 to play with. That's the same thing with everything, and it's designed this way through the citizenship. That is how they was able to keep all the wealth, the quote-unquote money, away from us, and they could do whatever they want. And like I say, gaslight us, make it seem like we're not doing what we need to do to get in the positions that they are in when they was given that position. Because like I said, we own all the credit, so how is it possible that anyone else can be above us here on our own land? Crazy. But anyways, I hope y'all picked up what I put down. Y'all know how I keep it. Y'all be guys. Hey.
The hardest thing for a person in the Illuminati, or the main thing for them to do, is act like they're not in it. Crafty counsel, again, Psalms 83, that must be the running theme right now. That's all they had to do, just act oblivious and then give everything they were receiving to the merit of them working for it, and us just being so degenerate that we can't figure it out. No, there's billions spent to keep us dumb, deaf, and blind. You have to see it that way. And it may be some that actually know what I'm saying. And then there's some that this has been going on so long, they were birthed into it, just like the definition of American says originally applied to the coppers, but now applied to the European descendants. They actually might think that they are this and they are that. They actually might think that this ain't... Man, that's the first time I cursed. They might actually think that we ain't nothing, and they actually formulate this thing, and we just gotta keep it a buck. You know, a lot of people, what I don't get about people, everything they benefit off of is deceit, lies, just all out corruption. They've been racist. They've done all of these things. The system is based off of racism. But if I bring up race, then they want to say, make it like it's like, how can you do all of this and not want to be called out about it? How can we not tell the truth about it? I refuse to live a life knowing, seeing for the sake of your comfort. We have to get out of that. We are the rightful rulers. We are the heirs to the thrones. This is our planet, and we have to start acting like it. We are not people who hate off of difference, but I will hate you and wage war against you if you're not doing the right thing. You're doing wrong. I can't live off a lie. We can't live off lies. Nature's hurting. Our mamas is hurting. The kids is hurting. The communities is hurting. The families are broken apart. So all of these things is being discussed in here. It sounds right on time, you know? And I always said that instead of saying I am this, I am that, I study this, I study that, we were to get the bits and pieces out of everything. So when these times come about, you can link them with prophecy and actually know how to materialize these things. Again, the secure party creditor, and that's basically, this brother broke it down beautifully. He gave a whole lesson on that, you know. He even tied up certain things in my mind from where I left off, you know. It's all in the mix. Yeah, this is just another follow-up on sign of the times, the things is to come, kind of following up on the last video, you know. This birthright thing it's gonna get deep, and it's all according to prophecy. So you can't claim to be a Christian and love Jesus and God and all that, but really you don't read, you don't know nothing. You don't know what's going on. Like my man Naquam said, you don't know what's going on. You equate God with your oppressors, really. Just go ahead and admit it. We won't hold it against you, you know? We understand he did a lot to get it here. But we just have to remember, y'all, that's basically all this happening. Were Christ coming back? Somebody said something. Jesus never said he was coming back. I gotta verify this. They said Christ was coming back. That's a consciousness. That's a right mind. And it seems like we back online. I always said that. All it would take is for the lowest level to get hip with the trend of decoding, uncovering, and unmasking. And we'll be all right. Seems like we well on our way.